Hi everybody, and we're gonna learn how to create a program using Scratch. Well, 1.4 to be exact. I have other versions as well, but still. So, to start off, let's start by getting to know some things. This is where you can select the types of blocks. I have these ones, but so let's look at the names. Motion, looks, sounds, pens, controls, and in the later versions this will be split into events and controls, sensing, operators, and variables, which has nothing yet until we do something. Alright then, we have this block palette here, which will help us when we're gonna drag and drop blocks. Here are some things up here that we don't need to worry about. This, if I remember, is the duplicate function, which allows us to create two things. Here is the delete function, here's the grow function, and here is the shrink function right here.
So which block?
We also have two resizing and the presentation mode. If we click the green flag or the stop sign, then we can do stopping, and you know what I mean. Now we have this. Now here we have a sprite editor thing right here. This shows all.
Can we go into control and get it to click it from flag?
Not yet. We're not at that point, Rian, okay? So, in this is where you can see all your sprites and stages. You can also paint a new sprite and choose a new sprite from the file, or get a surprise sprite. Alright then, so here we have the scripts where we can place blocks. And we also have the costumes to see some costumes here.
And
like this. And you can edit some of these costumes. You also have some sounds. Like that. Alright, then. Get out of my way, please. Alright then. And these buttons, these control the type of rotation. There can even be none. It looks fun. Okay then, so let's start our coding with an event block. The four event wait, I thought there were more event blocks. Oh wait, there is. So there's four event blocks. The first one is the one the green flag is clicked, and it's the most common one. Anything under it will be in the green flag. Then there is one when the key is pressed, and you can change it to any key you want. Okay, and then there's the clicked event, where if the sprite is clicked, it will do something. And the receive. This one happens during broadcasts. As you can see, when it receives a broadcast, it will do a certain action. Let's just go with our when the green flag is clicked. We go into motions. There's a whole lot of blocks, and I'm not going to go with them all, but I'm just going to go with, the basic ones. This go-to block makes it go to a coordinate grid on here. I'm just going to go ahead and import the XY grid for Scratch, just to make sure you understand it. So negative 240 to, Y negative 180, E and 180 and 240. These are just coordinate values here on this grid. As you can see, there's a lot. Now let's go back to our sprite 1. Now let's drag it somewhere like here. Now when we press the green flag, it should go right here to the center, the origin. There we go. How'd I get there? Alright then. So now we have the go to block. There's also the glide block, which makes an animation. So let's keep going. The move 10 steps block makes, the thing move 10 steps. We also have the point in direction. It can point in any direction. And it actually works. If you do it with only face left to right, then this happens, and if you use the rotate function, then this happens. Okay then, now this one just makes it so that if you're on the edge, you bounce, and these ones just make you rotate in ways. Alright then, these, I don't even know what these are, but, okay then. I know that these were for something, but I forgot. I know they're useful though, but these just show the X position, Y position, and the direction, which you can change here. Next is the looks. I haven't used many look blocks yet, but here we have the switch costume to costume 2, which makes it walk, and then we have the next costume, which, as you can see, for some reason makes Scratch Cat darker. And you can actually change the rotation, like right around here. Let's call this Scratch Cat for the moment. Alright, you can duplicate blocks to make 2 of them, and you can delete blocks as well. We also have a number for the costume, but that's not important. And these say blocks and the think blocks, they're just what you think. Just gonna do something here. Alright then. So, yeah, that's what those do. Basically. We also have effect blocks. So, I'm going using sets, so this doesn't affect anything. Now, clicking it doesn't do anything, but if I do this, then it happens. Just putting in these just changes the color effect. And you can do any one. I'm just gonna go ahead and show you. Here's the fisheye. And here's the world. And here's the pixelate. And here's the mosaic. Here's the brightness. And here's the ghost. Oh boy. Now I'm gonna have to set all of these to 0 now. 0 ghost effect. 0 brightness. This might take a while. Oh. And here's a clear graphic effects. We also can change the size. We can't do it here, but we can do it here. We also have the show and hide, which either makes it show or hide, basically. I'm just gonna make sure that this shows again. And this just does the layers thing. So, let's continue. Sound blocks. Now, these, I haven't actually seen most of these other than the play sounds and the stop all sounds, the volumes and pitches, tempos and more. So yeah, the sound blocks are actually the simplest, so I don't have to say much. Now the pen. I haven't done much with the pen at all actually. So this basically does a pen. So yeah. And the control blocks, well, remember, the control in this version of Scratch 1.4, actually has the event blocks here as well. Actually, not all of the event blocks look like this, and this. There's also the event blocks, this and this. So we can get those out for now. But for now, we have some blocks here. So the wait 1 second block makes this program wait for 1 second before doing anything. And there's also the wait until, which just makes it so that when a certain something is true, then it will do that. Now the forever if. This does not come in later versions, but it's basically just, well, the forever loop and the if combined. So basically these two lines of code are the same. And speaking of that, the forever makes sure that everything inside it goes on in a loop or forever. And the forever if does an if, well, checks for an if forever. If something is true, then it will do certain something. The repeat 10 times, it's kind of like a forever loop, except it does what a forever loop does for a limited amount of times. Maybe not too limited though. The if else means that if something was true, then it will do that. Otherwise, it will do something else. Now, the repeat until is kind of like the repeat block, except it repeats until a certain action is met. The stop script here just stops a script, and the stop all stops all. Now, before we go, I forgot to tell you about the block shapes. So, when the green flag is clicked and all the other blocks with this kind of shape are hat blocks. They're how you start a script. There is then these connector blocks or joint blocks, and they can connect from the bottom or the top. Then we have these Boolean factor blocks, while these reporter blocks are here. Like this reporter block, round shapes. There's finally the cap blocks, like the forever, for if, and the stop all and stop script. These all have an end, which means no block can be placed under them, so it can be forever and ever without being in there. Now the costumes and sounds things, well, in this version, there's not a lot here, so I'm only gonna share as much as I can. And so now that we've gotten a little used to the shapes. Let's just keep going. Now the sensing blocks won't work yet, so I'm just gonna get some things. If So I'm gonna get something if space key is pressed. You can do any of these. You can touch the mouse pointer or edge, touching the color. If the color something is touching that, I don't know. These are all Boolean factors. So the sensing just senses, basically. That's easy enough to remember. The operators do something. So let's make a bit of code right now that now we have this super duper go-to block, but it's not very useful. Full sense we can't go to a random position in this version. To do that, you'll have to go ahead and I'll just type numbers in the pick random. Now I'm choosing specific numbers for this specific grid here. Now this goes in the X. It'll highlight which place, so you don't have to worry about that. And then one. So these are pretty useful. The ands or nots and these mathematical formula things. You can guess them. I'm not sure what the rests are, but you can figure them out. The join hello world. If I click that, then it says hello world. And if I join Scratch and cat, then if I click it, it should say Scratch Cat. But you're gonna need a space to make it absolutely correct. There you go. Speaking of that, I wonder if I just wonder if these other blocks can speak. Yeah, they can in the other versions, but still. So let's test it out with. And of course, you can drag and drop these. The last is the variables, and these can make variables. I'll just go ahead and make a variable, and you can set it to something, or you can make a list. Oh, and the list is empty. You can click these to add things to your list and replace more things. One of list is thing. Does the list contain thing? True. Does list contain one? False. And these versions you can actually delete a variable or delete a list. Now that we have basically gotten used to Scratch's basic functions, let's go ahead with more complex functions, like the paint editor. The Scratch 1.4's paint editor includes the grow, shrink, and there's also the rotate and flip horizontally and vertically. Now this is the paintbrush, line, text, eraser, fill tool, select tool, stamp tool for duplication, I think, and rectangle, ellipse, and the eyedropper to select. These controls the brush size. How do I drop this? By clicking. Now this is the zoom and the select costume center, your color palettes, and you can even choose a color palette here. It's just really useful to just choose a color right here, and this just switches their primary color. Now you can switch back. I don't know which I'm even supposed to select, but yeah, that's just basically it. Oh, and you can hide some variables. This and this. I can hide them. Alright then. Now that we have gotten used to the paint editor, the scripts, now let's get to the sound. In the later versions, you can actually edit sound, but I can't actually do it here. So these just shares, save, language. So I hope this helped you learn how to code in Scratch. So for now, it's time to say goodbye. So bye.